ソップだ。だからウソップだっつってんだろ。伝説のヒーロー。
Hey, what up anyone who is watching? This is View with Ice, the channel where we recommend anime and TV shows, and today we are going to be looking at a few of Usopp's best moments. Usopp is mostly known by a lot of the fan base as one of the weakest characters in the Straw Hat crew, and people actually forget that Usopp is actually a vital part of the crew, and despite his cowardly personality, Usopp has produced results. I have had a lot of conversations with One Piece fans, and a lot of people actually don't like Usopp, and that is mainly due to him not being as strong as Luffy, Sanji or Zoro, or him being a coward. But Usopp is actually a great character, and even though he has some faults, he has always fought with the crew and he has put in the work to be a vital part of the Straw Hats. Please like and subscribe for more anime and TV show related content. You can also drop a comment in the comment section on some of your favorite Usopp moments. But now let's go take a look at our list. Usopp was basically forced to do this one here, but he was still the one to do it, so it has to be on this list. This is also one of my favorite moments in the anime. If you have watched the One Piece story, you should be familiar with an impact dial by now. An impact dial basically absorbs physical attacks and it stores it in, and when you press the button, all the power that was absorbed by those attacks are released. But an impact dial is basically a double-edged sword, and the user of the dial also gets injured when used. As they were in the marine base, Usopp blocked a lot of attacks from the marines using the impact dial, so there was a lot of power stored inside. So much power that it was able to propel the Going Merry into the sky. And being able to propel an entire ship into the air, the dial must have had a lot of energy stored, so the backlash of the impact was much worse. Yes, Usopp was of course helped here, but he took the brunt of the backlash, and for him to be able to absorb all that and survive, you must lay some respect on his name. This was the first time that Usopp was the only one who could defeat an enemy. Perona had a rather troublesome devil fruit ability that left even the strongest Straw Hats on their knees, and Usopp was the only one that could stand up to her. Perona's Horo Horo no Mi has a lot of different abilities, but the most troublesome of all abilities is the ability to bring out the most negative emotions of a person and make them doubtful about themselves. This ability allows her to bring her enemies down, and she can proceed to attack them with various other attacks as their guards are left wide open. This ability stopped even the top tier Straw Hats in their tracks, but the only one it did not have an effect on was Usopp. Because of his already negative personality, he could not be affected by her ability and turned out to be the only Straw Hat who could take her on. Although Usopp had some trouble with her other abilities, he managed to defeat her with his own unique form of strategy. The fight was of course very comical given the fact that it was Usopp, and he always has to be stupid and funny during everything, but Usopp pushed on and he got the W. Perona is not a very physically strong character, but her abilities could have caused a lot of trouble for the Straw Hats, but thankfully they had Captain Usopp. Dressrosa has been under the control of Doflamingo for years, and the entire country has been living a lie under his reign. The Straw Hats teamed up with the dwarfs of Dressrosa to take down Suga, as she was one of the biggest problems, and with her out of the way, everything would be easier going forward. Their plan was to infiltrate and take down Suga by placing one of the hottest chilies in her bowl of grapes, and this would essentially knock her out. And as you know, when you knock out a devil fruit user, their devil fruit power's influence normally goes away, but in regular Straw Hat fashion, their plan did not go as intended. When things went sideways, Usopp's cowardly personality came into play. This was actually a tearjerker, as the Don Tatas cried out his name as he ran away. But he couldn't ignore their cries for help anymore, and despite being scared, he came back and fought Treble, who is a top executive of Doflamingo and a character which was clearly out of his league. Usopp could of course not defeat Treble despite his best efforts, and he was left a sticky mess due to Treble's devil fruit powers. In his defeated state, Suga would give the chili to him, and this would also be her undoing, as this sent Usopp into a screaming rage as the chili burned his mouth. The facial expression Usopp made scared Suga so much that it managed to knock her out. And due to her being knocked out, her devil fruit's powers curse was lifted, and in lifting the curse, Usopp saved everyone who was ever turned into a toy, and through the gratitude, God Usopp was created. The Dressrosa arc has two of Usopp's biggest saves in the entire story, and this is the second one of them, and it is also the most impressive out of the two because this one was not an accident. This is also one of the best moments showcasing that Usopp is a valuable member of the Straw Hat Pirates to all the people who hate the character. Suga has a very OP devil fruit ability. She has the ability to transform people into toys, and when someone is the toy, they basically lose all of their previous strength. Suga also looks like a child, and that makes her extra dangerous because you wouldn't expect something like this from her, and that is exactly the case when she approached Luffy and Law. This was basically a worst case scenario because if Luffy and Law were turned into toys, who would have been able to defeat Doflamingo, and everything the Straw Hats had fought for would have been for nothing, and all of this was put on Usopp's shoulders. Given Usopp's personality, he of course had some trouble with the task at first, but as most of the things he has done, he pushed through and he managed to knock Suga out for a second time, and he also unlocked his observation haki in the process. And last but not least, Usopp vs Luffy. We of course knew from the beginning of this fight what the outcome would be, but nobody expected Usopp to actually put up such a great fight, and for a quick second I actually thought Usopp could do the impossible the first time I watched this. This was of course one of the most heartbreaking moments in the entire story, but there is no denying that Usopp was a badass in this fight. Just the way Usopp analyzed all of Luffy's weaknesses and used it to his advantage was really great to see, and it also just showed off how good of a strategist Usopp really is. I feel this is Usopp's best moment. Just the level of emotion going on here is enough. This is probably one of the greatest moments to show off Usopp is no pushover. He is not the strongest, but he has enough heart to go on with the best of them.